from in here. He pointed his heart. So, you know,
oh my gosh. Oh wow.
It's true, you know, and I know that anybody is looking for real information and is having real contact, or is just really interested in the subject, is going to find that they broached everything there was to find out in the books and in these circles within the first year or two.
Absolutely.
And they're not going to hear anything that is original. And for me, and people like you, it was almost painful looking in the media trying to find somebody that not just looked like me, melanin dominant,
yes,
but was having experiences like mine.
Absolutely.
Not the ones like Travis Walton had.
Yes.
Not like the one that Barney and Betty Hill had. Yes. You know, I mean, so that became another issue. And the further back you go, we're going back into the 80s, the early 80s. And then when it gets into the 90s, I watched this. I watched when things like the Bringers of the Dawn came out, that book by Barbara Marchini. It's a good piece of work.
Yeah.
And it's got some good revealing things in it. But then all of a sudden, whoa, the whole world was Fabio. The whole world was Pleiadian. It took over everything. And Kevin Sorbo was Hercules. I mean, the Pleiadians took over everything. And any star contact the people were having, and most people, it's the Pleiadians.
It's true. It's true. It was all Pleiadians, and it all was one look. And no one was, anything that was dark or black or brown was negative. And I think that was the general consensus in the ET community until many of us melanin dominant people started to come out and really detail that a lot of the experiences we were having were positive. And not only were they positive, they were super tangible. They weren't just like abstract points of, having contact.
Mm-hmm.
We were having full-blown contact with other beings that were linked to us somehow genetically, or had some formulated connection to us, maybe in previous lives or in future lives. So I love the fact that now there are people like us, and we're not the only ones that are coming out publicly and talking about their experiences. And I think that's important. So we're back online.
Yes,
we're back online. Let me just make an announcement. Thank you for everyone for coming back on. I apologize. I don't know why the screen, we got a lot of things going on. The screen is really gradient. I told you, I think I pierced it through another dimension. But you're right. Can't stop, won't stop. And also you can hear Barry a little louder now, so we can actually have a appropriate show. Right, Barry? And you know what I look forward to? I look forward to, like today, I look forward to really being in the energetic field during the conference of, like, we talk all the time, but you know how beautiful it's going to be, like, to be right in front of one another, to actually, be in the same vibration of people who match you. I think that in itself is going to activate us and bring us to higher realms of consciousness even more so. Because remember, when all contactees start getting in contact with one another, you notice that our consciousness, our frequency starts raising, spiking.
Yeah, I think it goes back to, I really would advise and ask anybody to go to my YouTube channel and look a video I put up. I put a bunch of videos up in the last 2 weeks. But one of them is called Artron Energy, Artron. It's something I took from Doctor Who as far as the name, but I think it also describes the energy that a lot of contactees get exposed to when we're around some of the technology, especially the engines on board these craft.
Mm-hmm.
And, excuse me, like you and I were talking about today also, I believe that also it's some of these beings themselves are so saturated with that energy and actually come from the quantum singularity, from the wormhole itself,
yes,
from the quantum hologram itself. They live there consciously. Their consciousness is emanating from there. That it makes things, you know what I'm saying? That it makes that they're actually entrenched with that energy also.
Absolutely.
That just being around them may saturate us also. And when I get around somebody, I can feel that energy coming off you. When I watch your videos, when we talk, I can feel
Same
it.
likewise.
And there are other people too that have that signature. There's something about that Artron, that high orgone AGLE energy that irradiates the cells of the contactee. I'm sure of it. And like I talked about on the video, I think it also gives a way for the government to track people like us.
Absolutely.
Hell, I think some of us get exposed to this energy when we're still embryos inside of our parents, and we're already carrying that signature before we even incarnate fully.
So they can find us. Yes, they track us.
That's what I think.
I agree with you. And I think a lot of times they tag babies or beings that come in incarnated before we actually know who we are. They know who we are. And that's why a lot of times they make sure they give all these vaccinations and really kind of try to incept upon special beings coming in, because they know that we have something to do. There's a goal in mind, and probably they're trying to incept or to try to at least slow down whatever our initial reason for coming back and being incarnated. Because whatever beings are involved with us have their own agenda. And I always say every being has an agenda. Not agenda is bad all the time. It could just be making the earth better or bringing in more positive energy so that we have a more balance in this world. You know what I mean? So an agenda is not always negative, but I think each being that we're interacting with has their own agenda. And I think, the governmental agents know that they prefer to tag us and, pretty much track us, or the beings that are attached to us, so that they can kind of get the intel on what we're here to do.
Absolutely. And, I think it's worth mentioning also, when dealing with contact experiences, we're dealing not just galactic and the places that we hear about, Pleiades, Arcturus, Sirius, and all the places we're familiar with that go along with the media. Look at what's being discovered. They've discovered 300 billion galaxies. That's why I just did something about the Triangulum Galaxy. It's something that may connect to my contact experiences and melanin-dominant black extraterrestrials out there coming from that sector, the really large ones, the ones that were here before this entire cycle. That's things I think that when we're dealing with that, we need to realize that there are absolutely thousands of different beings and factions interacting with this planet and what we call contactees and awake people.
Exactly.
There are thousands of different species and beings. And you can just look in the cosmos and see that. That's
And I also spoke about that on yesterday's video. I was talking about how it's interesting that you have all these UFO conferences and they're talking about their diverse interactions with so many various beings, but they don't even show on their own platforms that that diversity. So you're in contact with reptilians, with blue beings, with non-corporeal beings. You're in contact with, terrestrials from other galaxies, but your platform shows a very segregated aspect. So I personally question if they're telling the truth, because we know, as being contactees, one thing that I notice, and having a level of interact with the Zetas, with a sect of the Insectilians, and also with the Andromedans, and also a functionality with the Nega line of the Anunnaki, I find that I'm more into unification. I feel that way. Even if I have a thought, my natural intrinsic propensity is almost like I can't be in non-unity. I want to see spectrums of all spectrums of light. I want to experience all cultures, all tongues, all complexions. It naturally comes into me. And I think the interaction with these beings only raises that. It makes it more profound that you have this more unified unity consciousness-based sensibilities. And I find it interesting that all these platforms that are very isolatory and very xenophobic in the way it looks or it's being expressed, I find it in opposition of everything I know to be as a contactee. What say you?
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is this, and I've only been to 2 conferences now. The one that you're throwing will be the 3rd I've been to.
Yeah.
And I've got to interact with a few of these people that are in the mainstream now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, things like contact in the desert, somebody tagged both of us in a post. And I didn't see it. I've been offline for the last 2 weeks for the most part. I'm kind of focusing on YouTube and some other stuff. But, they had mentioned how contact in the desert, look at the lineup. And, I've seen it once or twice. But, yeah, true. There might be is there even one ethnic person in there? And they mentioned that and how people like us are there. Now, I've been to a SETI, and I was invited there for the reason that there are no melanin-dominant people hardly in this field. That's why James said especially he wanted me there. And I think, of course, the land and the nice Sasquatch all had a head in being drawn out there.
Of course.
conversation. but you know, my point being, just to wrap that up, is that some of these people right now that are making all this money are so much, everybody's listening to them. Oh my gosh, whistleblowers, that's the new thing. Disclosure, that's the new thing. But for those of us that have really had contact, hello, disclosure happened a hell of a long time ago.
It did. If they're waiting for disclosure,
and if I were to get around some of these people that make these claims that how they're these great contactees and all that, I'll know if they're telling the truth or not. I can't say it always every time, but if they've been really exposed to that type of technology or to that high level of being, they're going to carry that signature, and I'll detect it.
I agree.
And if they don't, I'll detect that just as quick.
I agree. Some
and
people
I
have
think
it.
For that reason, I've met a few of them that were speaking out in public, and I won't mention their names, but they avoided me like the plague when I met them in person.
Yeah.
Because I see very well. Very well.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that signature, I'll know it.
Well, you know, I heard someone say, well, no, you're absolutely correct.
Right.
And you're right on point. You would feel contactees. That's the one thing. We feel each other. We feel the exposure to that energy, that energetic field that is not earthbound. It's not linked to the earth. So that energetic, like you said, the arctron energy is on us. So it's almost like as soon as you meet another being who's been exposed to it, it makes you feel kin to them. Like it makes you almost like you know them. You feel the authenticity in them. That's how you feel. And what's interesting is I remember somebody saying, and he was being a smart behind by saying, oh, when I had mentioned that there's not a really, there's not a spectrum of, diversity amongst the people who are having these UFO and contactee conferences. And, him being likened to Corey Good said something that was really profound, and it shows the level of consciousness of some of these beings. He said, what, we're going to add affirmative action now to the ET and UFO community. So now we have to add affirmative action so that these Black people, this is what he said, these Black people can be added. No, fool. Why would you say that?
I don't mean to laugh, but it's kind of funny, but it's better than what somebody sent me, that message I was sent recently, and they put it on like 3 of my videos. It said, can you Black people please just let us white people have space?
Wow. We didn't know space was yours.
It's kind of funny.
We didn't know space was yours.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
but in all seriousness, I don't mean to interrupt you, please.
Can we have space?
But you are correct, and they're saying things like that because it gets away from the whole deal, and they'll claim to be intergalactic heritage and all that, and galactic racial equality, but they're not focusing it right here on Earth, And it's interesting too because now Ediseti was an interesting experience because when I mentioned that as I began my speech, a few of the people there never really even bothered to notice it. It's not that they was racist; they just never really thought about it.
That's true.
We don't see any Black people in these places. And this last year when I spoke about that the first person when I got done, I tried to take questions and stuff, and the first person up to the mic was Jimmy Church, the host of Coast to Coast and Fade to Black.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first thing he asked me. He goes, I got my producer, I'm sure he's in a contact me, and he won't talk to even me about it. And I want to know why. Why it seems like that a lot of the Black people I know won't talk about this at all.
It's not true.
And so he legitimately asked about it. And then he asked about it and talked about it for 2 to 3 minutes when I was on his Fade to Black show at the beginning of it. We addressed it, and I thought it was great because nobody in Hollywood wants to talk about that.
No one addresses it. Yeah.
But you know what? When I came out and some of the ambiance that was still left in the study there, I was still in the study we did that interview. He wasn't, but I was. I did in the office out there. And I came out and someone goes, that was a good interview, Barry, but I'm a little irritated with Jimmy because he kept talking about the race thing. I looked at him, I said, do you mean for the whole first 3 minutes of the interview? Seriously?
Wow. Oh, wow. And this is what I'm saying. There's a sort of... They're basically saying that it's their genre, it's for them solely, and even it's agitating to even hear us speak about the lack of diversity. Even though they're talking about diverse creatures and species they're exposed to, we shouldn't speak about the lack of that in their platforms. And when there's obviously, listen, Delbert Blair was a contactee. He had been out for years. How come he was not invited to any of these major conferences? He had a plethora of information. When did you see Dr. Delbert Blair on any of these platforms? That's why when we talked, you were like, "There's a Dr. Delbert Blair." You hadn't heard of him because he wasn't on any of the platforms. He was obviously a contactee. He had been talking about the numerous beings that he was aware of and in contact with. I mean, he had a plethora of information. How come he was never invited to any UFO and ET conference? Not once, except the one, there was a kind of like a metaphysical one in Harlem, New York. They called it the UFO conference, but it really was he was the only contactee. He was the only contactee speaking. This was like years ago.
You mean the one where he met the people from Alpha Centauri?
Alpha Centauri. No, but he did a supposed UFO. There was a supposed UFO community conference in Harlem, New York, my neck of the woods where I went to school. And Brother Polite was on a panel. There was I think Valentine was Phil Valentine was on a panel, but there was no contactees other than Dr. Delbert Blair. And he was the only one who spoke about his personal interaction with other beings, whereas everybody else just talked about the abstract or what it's like to meet cosmic beings or the science behind cosmo interaction. That not one person could speak from a personal one-hand point of view. And I found it interesting that he was never invited to one conference. And I'm sure, and it's sad that no one even heard about him even before he passed away.
Well, I'd only heard about his lectures and things like that. And I'd heard about that, through some publications he had done. But I didn't know that he was a contactee.
Yeah.
I knew he was brilliant in every other way, but I didn't know he was a contactee.
That's amazing.
And for anyone that actually is hip to what he says, I find it fascinating. And it's such a shame that I did not get a chance to meet that brother because he met those people from Alpha Centauri at a conference he went to that was over the George Admitsky contacts.
Yes.
And that is something that him and I share in common because I've always been attracted to the George Admitsky contacts because, one, I've interacted with ships that look similar to the ones he was filming and he has illustrated. Okay, with the gyro balls underneath them.
Yes.
The ships I saw have 4 of them, but the ones he saw had 3. And number 2 would be this. And you already know how I had to eat crow because I've seen some Nordic cats on the ship.
Yes.
And I've been talking trash for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to eat some crow.
And it's okay, but it's okay.
But anyway, the point, what's that?
I said but I think it's okay. It's like for you as a brown melanin dominant male to say that you're experiencing some contact with non-melanated beings, I think that's healthy. I think it's healthy to discuss. And it says that we have contact, people can have contact with different species and different types of beings, complexion-wise or what have you. But I think we don't hear that same exchange on the other spectrum. But I think that you detailing that is truth.
Well, let me just put it to you like this. The crest color of confrontation always lies deep within one's psyche once you learn that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to accept nonetheless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on all seriousness, on the other side of it, George Admitsky, these Nordics he dealt with were in blue suits. Okay. The ones I saw were in blue suits too. Yeah. They're maybe a little different, but I mean, there's a lot to be said. These cats look like clones, and I'm getting things about they're capable of like collective regeneration. That's why they're maybe into cloning, not for the reasons we think. Yeah. When I say collective regeneration, like think about how the Borg regenerate damaged parts.
Oh, they kind of build
the Borg on Star Trek.
Yeah.
They create a field of energy that heals everything together in sync.
Interesting.
Anyway, sorry. We had some stuff that I feel bad because it's supposed to be open mic, but there was some stuff that you wanted to talk about. I've got these notes. I had some notes. I remember what we were talking about earlier. Just some things. You said some people, some members, some group members are wanting to talk about something about Art Bell.
Yes,
and I believe it was
Lynn Begley.
Was it maybe John Teeter? Was it the John Teeter?
Oh, well, the John Teeter you were talking about, yeah, but yeah, absolutely. Let's kind of touch on that a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he was a time traveler, or was it anti-gravity? I'm sorry, I got two things written down here, and I got the Otis Ring and Ralph Carr thing. We could talk about that too, and that's the anti-gravity, inflammation space vehicle that's based on the Philadelphia experiment.
Yes.
People can look up the Google patent for that. Yeah, so and actually look at that. That's actually real technology that's capable of teleportation and transdimensional travel. So anyway, I'm sorry. So I'll follow your lead.
No. We were talking
or
about.
We could also talk about that Beta Black. Remember Beta Black?
Yes. But what we were kind of discussing, I was kind of just denoting that they were the people that had created jump rooms here with reversed alien technology had some glitches at the beginning, and some of the glitches showed up as the particle, because we were talking about particleizing, departicleizing, and particleizing, meaning that if anyone knows, when you watch Star Trek and they're beaming someone up and down, they basically, the particles of the person, all atoms are being separated and dispersed, and they're relocated to whatever space and time that they're going to go to, sometimes on top of a planet. But with the jump rooms that the government, to my knowledge, were creating at the beginning, they had a lot of glitches with that technology, meaning that people were being departicleized, and if they went to a certain location, they would end up fusing with whatever was close to them. So if they came to a location and there was a concrete sidewalk, if they didn't go on the sidewalk, their part of their foot would end up inside of the sidewalk, fusing with whatever they were wherever location they were going to. And then I kind of spoke about with the Philadelphia experience with the boat that went into the Bermuda Triangle, or well, something like that. That kind of gateway that they opened up time traveling. And when they came on the other side, some of the shipmen were fused inside of some of the boat, like some of their hands were inside of the steering, or their foot was stuck inside of the bow of the boat, because whatever they did when they went through this time loop, it wasn't perfectly synced, harmonic. And then they ended up reparticleizing, but becoming part of something if they were too close to it.
Okay, let me jump in. Okay, yeah. That's absolutely accurate. And when dealing with that type of Philadelphia experiment, the earlier part of it, that type of technology, yeah. All right, there are two scientists, Ralph Ring and Otis Carr. All right, they actually have a government patent. So you can go to anybody right now can go to Google Patents. Go to Google Patents. I'm going to give you the number for this space vehicle. They got patent like a very long time ago. Yeah. And something about this, it is this thing actually. If you look at their diagrams, you can see how it actually works. On top of everything else, you can research these two. That's the good thing about that, and see some of the different anti-gravity field vehicles they've built. But this one in particular, when I had researched it, I found out that they had in the laboratory or whatever, they tried to use it, and they teleported out of the laboratory and were like a couple of miles away in some farmer's field picking like his wildflowers, and got the police called on them. And when they get back to the laboratory, okay, they can't remember anything. They can't remember being gone, but they're like these flowers all in the floor of this vehicle. So they didn't ever use it again. Now, the patent for this, and that's just the story that I heard behind it. If you start researching this actual deal, the patent is from Google Patent is number US 6960975B1. I'll give it one more time. Once again, in Google Patents, this is number US 6960975B1. It'll come up. And while you're at it, take down these as well. Just because these are things that it's not as easy to get a patent as people think. And this is another one, okay? This is for the full body teleportation device.
Yes.
And if you look at the diagram of this, it looks quite similar to what we would call the Montauk project, the Montauk pillars. It looks quite similar to that. That one is, the patent number for that is US 2006 007 1122A1. Okay, US 2006 007 1122A1. And the very last one I'll give is one I personally think is fascinating.
Yes.
It's called the walk-through system, okay? The walk-through wall system. And it's the number for that is US 2006 001 4125A1. That one is more recent. The patent was filed for that in 2004. But look at that technology right there that someone is saying, and it's designed to pull the astral body out of a person's body so the astral body can go through a wall.
Absolutely. And then we wonder why some of these graves are able to pull people out of their houses. Yes.
Yeah, people like that, Toltecs and certain sorcerers and shamans and warriors, especially from the old cycle, have been doing that stuff for a long time.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting to see that the government is actually patented. I just urge people to look that up. And also, I'll even post it in Cypher.
Yeah,
I'll post a thing that has all the cures for it. Because we've got Ebola outbreak coming again. It's happening again. There's a cure for that. The government has a cure like that, like they have a cure for the AIDS virus. They've got the patent. I'll put them on Cypher.
Absolutely, please do, because our family are researchers by nature, so they will research it and they will verify. Absolutely. But let me hold on, Barry, because we're getting to that. Do that now. We are actually getting to that mark where I have people call in, because I remember I came on late, so I have to make that announcement. For anyone who's deciding to call in, I see the queue is filling up. Oh, we have quite a few people on the calls. If you're calling in, you need to call in now. You have about 34 minutes left in live stream. And then, we have a bonus hour afterwards. So I always encourage you, if you'd like to call and ask a question, that you call earlier than later, because I can't guarantee that the Blog Talk live stream won't kick you off if you call too late. So if you're going to call, the number is 515-605-9881. Again, 515-605-9881. And remember, if you have a question, you push 1 so that we know we can pull you into the queue. And we'll take everyone from top to bottom. So whoever's first in the queue will take. We ask that your questions are left at 5 minutes, no longer than 5 minutes, so that we can allot for time for everyone to at least try to get in on the calls. We like to make sure that we at least try to talk to everyone if we can. It looks like we have a lot of people calling in tonight, Barry. I think,
it'll be easy for me. They just want to talk to you.
They always have questions for you as well. I know they ask me.
Sit here and listen.
No, they usually have some interesting questions. So give us a couple minutes and then we'll end up going into the queue. But I just wanted to give you the number again, 515-605-9881, just so that you call in early enough. So at least when we start going into the queue, you're ready and able and willing, and we can just pull you in. Okay. So we talked about that, Barry, and I'm so grateful you had the patents, because I think a lot of people think a lot of this is pseudoscience. The government has basically has everything cornered on the market. Anything that is out there, they have patented and they have a cure for it. So any virus that they create in a laboratory, they have the antidote for that same virus, and you're going to pay a mint, either with side effects that they create with the medication that they do that will resolve the issue, but it will probably cause some other issues, because they're in the business of making you sicker. There's no reason why they would want you to exceed your lifespan of the less than 100 years that they want you to be here. It's not beneficial to them if you're healthy. It's only beneficial to them if you're sick and passive. So they make a business out of making sicknesses and then creating antidotes that make you sick in another way, so that you have to get another antidote to make you sick in another way.
Yeah. And I just posted that in Cypher.
Perfect.
The one that isn't on there, and I don't have it on my notes right here, but there is actually the patent for the AIDS virus itself. And if you actually go back and look that up before Dr. Boyd got knocked off, he talked about it.
Absolutely.
And they took actually anthrax from cows and Vishna from sheep, and back engineered that to make I think it's HTLV3, and that's the HIV virus. And they've got a cure for it.
Wow.
It's tetrasilver oxide silver, a type of colloidal silver that can be used as a blood cleanser.
Yes. And I actually had that on my bug out bags. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were we saying?
Oh, no, I said I keep colloidal silver in my bug out bag. I put that on Patreon. I have a bug out bag, and people were asking, how come you have a big thing of colloidal silver, like a really concentrated amount? I said, because I know that can cure anything, especially in a situation of emergency. I carry huge thing of colloidal silver.
Yeah, and also knocks out some good silver. Also get rid of the werewolves.
That's true. That's true. Get rid of some of that lichen. That lichen. Yeah, sovereign silver works.
Get a couple of those calls.
Absolutely. Let's start going to the calls. You ready, Barry? You ready for the calls? This will be interesting.
Yeah, I think, are you ready? I'm just going to sit here and listen.
Well, we'll see. I think they'll have a conversation, but let's see if we can, we'll talk to a couple people. Okay, so we're going into our calls, and we'll start off with our first caller. Oh, we've got a Westchester County number. That's my old neck of the woods. 914-2235. You're on the line with Barry Littleton and FleurBrun. Peace, family.
Hi.
Peace. Who's this?
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Hi, it's Sam. Hi, Fleur. Hi, Barry.
Hey, peace. How you doing, C-Star?
I'm good. Good night, everyone. How's everybody doing?
Everyone is well. Everyone is well.
Good. How are you?
That's good. I was just I just forgot my train of thought. So I was just laying here listening. I was just calling. Well, a lot of stuff has been happening, FleurBrun. But there's one thing, like there's a few things I wanted to update you on.
Yes.
I'm just lost I went to my my twin concert the other day.
Oh, did you really?
That was nice.
Her Twin Flames concert. Okay.
Yeah, I went to his concert. It was magical. I told my sister, anything weird pops off, don't say nothing. Just sit there and watch. She was just like, okay.
Yes.
Nothing. They had some electrical. Difficulties, something shut off in the middle of the show, and he was smiling, because he didn't know what was going on. My crown was open, and my back was, energy was running up and down my back, but that was pretty much it. Nothing else. I don't know if it was just for him to see my face. I honestly don't know.
Yes.
But that happened. I was sick for a couple of weeks. Really, I don't know I don't know what's the range, but a lot of things was going on with my body. I just remember one day I woke up, my feet and everything below my knees were it felt like they were on fire.
Wow.
And I was just like, why is my feet so hot? Yeah. And as soon as I moved my feet and it went away, and it wasn't like my feet were numb or anything, or it was asleep. It was just really hot. And during that time when I was sick, a lot of love songs were playing in my head for reasons I couldn't understand. I'm talking about old school, not old school, 90s love songs, Brian McKnight, Babyface, Kenny Lattimore, Sade, all of those Mariah Carey were playing in my head. And I was like, where are these songs coming from? I thought that was really weird. I didn't know why that was happening, but the most interesting thing is that something outside my window was watching me the whole time.
Wow.
And I called my friend and I put her on FaceTime and I said, do you see that big yellow dot right there? She goes, yeah, I see. I was like, yeah, that's not supposed to be there. And it's been outside my window for 4 days. And she was like, oh, sometimes they watch people just because, they want to watch people. And I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would, because my illness made me wake up frequently in the middle of the night, and I would look outside the other side of my window and I would see a big orange dot on the other side of my window. And I'm like, oh, it's moving. And then another time there was another like blue dot. And I told my friend, I was like on the phone with her and I was like, oh snap, something just moved off of the blue dot. And she said, what are you talking about? I'm like, something in the sky is flickering lights and it's zigzagging in the sky. And we FaceTime and she's like, I can't see it. I'm like, it's so small. My eyes can barely even follow it. But every time a plane would go by it, the blue dot would make itself disappear. And when the plane went away, it would reappear. And then all of a sudden the bright yellow dot appeared. And then all of the blue dot just started going like super fast to the yellow orange dot. I was like, do you see it? And she was like, no, it's moving behind the building. And we were just watching it. So it was really funny that was happening. So I don't know how much more minutes I have.
But that's interesting. Barry, what do you think that is? The dots that were representing the orb. The orb,
a couple things. I'll tell you what I picked up as you're talking. One is that I think you should, for you, as far as ancient symbols, patterns, check out the spiral. The spiral is important for you because I think you're actually getting a lot of energy from Earth. And I think it's the spirals coming through when you're sleeping and also when you're standing certain places. And
you know what's funny?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Oh, I was just going to say, you know what's funny? I spoke to FleurBrun about this a couple months ago. And FleurBrun, I know, you get so many things in your head, so I completely understand if you don't remember. That my palms are always spinning. And FleurBrun, one time I had to keep eating chicken because I don't know if it was so strong. I needed something to ground myself. And lately my palms, the orbs that were spinning in my palms, they've now turned into infinity signs. So they make the infinity signs in my palms. And sometimes it makes it in my third eye. And then lately it's the middle of my palms and they're getting hot. So sometimes I can't hold my phone. So, and then it'll like get a zap in the middle of my palm. And I'm like, ow, like what the F is that? Like that hurt. So it does that sometime. And I'm just like, I don't know what it is, but I just don't touch anything.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm getting, and this just confirmed it. What I was actually gonna tell you even before. On top of the spiral and the earth energy coming through you, you're also some type of elemental. And I think you have that in common with FleurBrun.
Yes.
You're some type of elemental, and you're also talking about pyrokinesis.
Yes.
You seem to be exhibiting some type of pyrokinetic abilities, that heat that you're talking about. But those lights you're seeing they look actually probably similar to what scientists will call earth lights. But those are some type of earth guys that are helping you. Those are earth entities, earth awareness of some type. And you know what I'm saying?
Sense.
Like a lot like idiots would call stuff like that swamp gas and ball lightning. But in reality, those are entities. That's awareness, and it's coming through the earth and through you. And I really pick up that you said that you had an ailment. I think the earth, and you've got a lot of entities beings that are helping you to heal right now.
Maybe.
And that might be
I think so too. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm listening.
No, that was it. I mean, I think I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but it's a beautiful thing, honestly.
Absolutely.
And I'm picking up that you're getting angelic presence also, maybe earth angels.
Oh wow! I knew that. I always felt like I was getting assistance because before when I spoke to FleurBrun, we were trying to figure out if it was the Arcturians, and FleurBrun had said no, she felt it was inner earth being. So I had gotten confirmation that it was. So I was like, okay, well that's awesome and stuff. So I just left that alone because I've mostly been doing just a lot of self-healing. So I didn't really pay much attention to the ETs unless unless they came to me. Like I told FleurBrun one time I was getting a massage and a Saturnian was like in the room when I was getting a massage, and I was laughing because I thought it funny. And a couple of times, a couple of weeks ago, when I was closing my eyes to go to bed, I would see some type of like insectoid beings, and I was like, okay, well, I don't really know if I'm hallucinating or if that's just me. So I was just like, all right, and I would just go to bed. I know that I'm clairvoyant, and it's coming on pretty strong because sometimes I'll close my eyes and I'll get rapid images, just like flash between my eyes, and I'm like, what the hell? It's like I have to, like I'm backing away from something I don't even know what, but it's just images that are flash. It'll be like a random image, like of a kid running somewhere, or a random image of a wall somewhere.
Wow.
And I can never keep track of it. But you ever about the elementals? I do know that I'm highly connected to water, and I figured out why, FleurBrun. You said something in one of your videos one time, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. You were talking about how some of our higher selves have certain sounds. And I remember when I used to meditate, I used to hear it's like trickling water sound.
Yes, Delbert Blair went into that. Yes.
Inside my body.
Yeah. Dr. Delbert Blair used to do meditations like that. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm listening.
I'm sorry. Dr. Delbert Blair, when I used to go to some of his meditation groups, he would make us focus and find our sound. Each one of us has a very unique sound that is really connected to our soul. It's a soul sound, but many of us don't know what it is. Some people, it's a drum. Like some people get the drum. Mine is a drum. It's like ticka, 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 ticka. That's why I dance all the time. Some people it's water. Some people it's wind. Some people get chimes, but it's your soul signature. That's what you're hearing with the water.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, it was amazing. I did a meditation where I was trying to reach my higher self, and everything was water that I was going through. I was in some ice castle, and everybody was drinking water with ice in it. And I was like, okay, am I near? And they were like, no, you got to keep going up further. And when I went up further, everything was still water. I was in like a water bubble.
Wow.
I got so excited, I threw my dance off out of the meditation. But I was like, oh, that's crazy. This is what she was talking about.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that.
But that was. I mean, I have so much more else to say, but I'll call you to talk to you about that. There was just one thing I wanted to ask you specifically. But thank you so much, Barry, because you confirmed a lot for me, because I was trying to figure out certain things. And what did you say that it was you wanted me to read?
You know, that's fascinating, because I didn't say anything, and there's something I've been wanting to tell you and dying to tell you because it keeps coming through. You're you definitely have abilities.
She does.
I never did anything, but you picked it up telepathically. That's very good. That's very good. Okay, what it is are you familiar with the Uranta book?
The Uranta book?
Yeah, Urantia. It's a book that I have some issues with, but however, there are a few. When it comes to the racial part of it, it's completely skewed. But however, there are certain parts in there that are good, and there's certain thing in there that's called Uranta means earth. All right, and there's a section in there that talks about Uranta Seraphim, earth angels. I think you're supposed to read that section. And it breaks them down into the earth being, the angels being that actually are of residence here on this planet, like origin here, being also seraphim, cherubim, and also another one called sanabim. But I think you're supposed to become familiar with the three type of angelic presences. That's what I'm really picking.
You know, that's absolutely funny, because I was telling my friend earlier today, I was like, yeah, I keep feeling this thing on my back. And she's like, what do you keep feeling on your back? I was like, it kind of feels like two little butterflies' wings are in my back flapping. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, it just feels like two little butterflies are flapping in my back. And I was like, I used to have some things about, like, I used to see some angel wings a couple of times on meditation, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. So it's funny that you say that.
And hearing wind chimes? Have you been hearing wind chimes lately that aren't coming from anywhere?
No, but I've been obsessed with getting a wind chime lately, and every time I look outside my window, not every time, but lately I've been looking out. I've felt like, so I talk to like water a lot. I always talk to when I'm in the shower or even drinking a cup of water. But lately, I've noticed like wind. And one day I was sitting in my room and it was blowing, and I turned around and looked, and I couldn't understand what she was saying, but I knew it was a song and a calling that she was like telling me like soon, like you and I are going to be talking. And I just said outside, I said, okay, whenever you're ready, I'm here. So I just find it funny. And I was like looking for chimes online a couple of weeks ago because I was like, I want a chime.
That's
I love
a sign.
The sound of chimes.
That's also a sign.
I really want one in my room.
Yeah. All elementals, those who are present, like myself, we're obsessed with chimes. My mother was, I have them everywhere. Yeah. That's a part of being an elemental. It's actually a connection to the fairy realms, the gnome realms, the nature realms, the realms with the trees. The trees love when we have chimes.
Oh my God.
So
that's so funny because I've been having this thoughts about fairy realm all the time in my head for the past 3 hours. Oh my God.
They like the chimes and they play with the chimes outside your doors.
Well, elemental.
Yeah.
Elemental. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Sister,
there's a whole kingdom that I think you're working with.
I think so. And I think she has access to it. And her hands having those symbols in her hands actually is as a healing quality as well. That's another healing quality. She has something going on with her hands. So the heat, like pyrokinesis, that heat, but also that heat can be used for healing. So I think she has that aspect of that.
You're Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore, Firestar. What a good movie. She's like, okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you, C-Star, for calling. I love talking to you, and we've got to chat offline.
Of course, yeah. Thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks so much, Barry. Have a good night, guys. Thanks.
Peace.
Much energy.
I love that. I love that she's so aware, though. She's self-aware. She knows she doesn't know exactly what it is, but she kind of does. You know what I mean? She's aware of the bodily changes. She knew that, a lot of people in the occult or who do a lot of Santeria or Obia, they know that whenever they're getting too much energy in them, they eat meat. If they're not meat eaters, they eat meat to ground them. When she said she had to eat chicken to ground her, that's what a lot of occultists do if they're getting too many energies and they can't ground themselves. They drink beer, certain kinds of beer, and they eat meat. Not a lot, but just to ground themselves. And she knew to do that intrinsically. It's interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good for her. So let's go to our next caller. We have 631-2196. You're on the line with Barry Littleton and FleurBrun. Peace, family. 631-2196. You're on the line with FleurBrun and Barry Littleton. Take your phone.
Hello, hi.
Peace, C-Star.
Greetings.
Hi.
How are you?
I didn't know I was on.
How are you?
Hello.
Are you nervous?
How are you doing?
How's everyone?
We're well.
I'm always nervous.
Don't be. It's only me, you, and Barry, and a few viewers.
So nice to meet you, Barry. I feel like you have a lot of positive energy, and I just love your laugh because it makes me happy.
Aww.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's beautiful.
Very nice thing to say. Thank you.
Huh?
Well, this is a very nice thing to say. Thank you.
Yes, I could when you were having like technical difficulties and you were laughing before that, just feel it, and just like very happy, very joyful, very positive vibe.
That's good. That's
what I feel.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask about the whole melanin dominant extraterrestrials and the people who are in the hip hop community, Rihanna and Cardi B and all those people, are they going to be in the new home court advantage when the world has cycled itself? Are those people going to take power, or because they have done dirt, will they get dirt?
Personally, the reason why they took certain bloodlines and give them a center stage at a particular time that would have a genetic home court advantage, and in the next stage they do that purposefully. But no, they won't be able to hold that their hierarchy, their placement, because they are part of the old establishment, and they have done a lot of diabolical things along with the old regime. So no, they won't be part of, but they are the ones that they're allowing to transition into that home court advantage. So they're being used to field into the new energies, but no, by no means will they hold the advantages or the higher tiers of that hierarchy, because of where they placed themselves and who they aligned themselves with previously, and with some of the things that they did that were diabolical. So yes, they're being used to build, bridge onto the new cycle, but no, to my knowledge, they won't be holding their positions like they have now. They will have less comfortable positions. New people will be taking over those slots, because obviously we're going into a new cycle. So it would have to be beings that are balanced with the new energies and unity consciousness, and also beings that are not so dirty, who haven't dirtied themselves just to get to the position of wealth or high esteem.
Right. Most of them, to me, they seem like they're not there. Like, they just seem like different people. They don't seem like the real people that are there.
Well,
and I wanted to also ask.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, C-Star. Go ahead. Ask.
Oh, I wanted to ask about, people who are looking for doppelgangers. Are doppelgangers clones that they have set around the world or something? Because there are people who are finding people that look like themselves.
Barry, you're gonna take this one.
Are these clones?
Barry's gonna take this one. Barry, come in for it. Come on, Barry. Take it home. Take it home, Barry. This is okay. She sounds like she got a little segue into our conversations. She's I'm sorry, C-Star. This is this is a perfect question. You're actually a very perfect question to the right people.
You're giggling like you were in the Wizard of Oz or something. I'll tell you what. There's kind of two ways to come at that. All right. One is not just the cloning that we hear so much about, that everybody's being cloned, and how easily that's being said now. You know what I mean? As opposed to what we really scientifically know about cloning. But then we can go into something that's a little different, that is for contactees and experiencers, what is called the resurrection technology. And that is something where they have actually runes and certain light that translates souls into different copy bodies, into different bodies, or will actually store a soul until that time comes for it to take another body, or even attract soul energy into a machine to be placed into a clone body, a type of a trap. So that's another type of cloning process also. For example, I've done a couple videos about doppelgangers, because when I was a kid, I was walking home and I encountered a brother that was standing on a bridge from where I lived that wound up looking at me when I was 22, 23. And it was, and I couldn't put it together for a long time, but I never forgot it, and it did something to me. You know what I'm saying? So I always believed in doppelgangers at that point. But I didn't know about resurrection technology yet. But then again, I'm one of those people that had experiences from childhood on. So being exposed to technology like that when we're maybe still in the womb or as children is not all that uncommon, I don't think, for those that are really contactees. Does that make sense?
It does. So they know that the people are coming here, so they just place people that look like people, is what you're saying? With the technology? In the situations I've heard about, a lot of times it will be the contactee might have something wrong with their body. Let's say they have a damaged heart or something that they're not going to be able to
actually fulfill their soul life, their mission here. And the beings will come and provide a copy of their body off their clone structure and then transfer their body, their soul energy into this clone body so that they can continue their life and finish their work here. That's a lot of times I've heard in that type of a situation, or even them having a type of a clone body that can operate on the ship, and then they can transfer the person's energy into that body, and they can operate on the ship and do what they're supposed to do. So a lot of times, this place where the transfer occurs has been called the place of translation by a lot of people because it's supposed to be immense light there. Yeah. So
that's very powerful technology.
Yeah.
And also very true for the person.
Yeah. You know, I've shown an engine on several videos I've done, and it's got these very large crystals. But that energy also, you know, my friend told me during this experience that actually that engine was capable of not just powering cities and legion ships like small planetoids, but the sound I was hearing it was generating could heal human flesh. So that is something that I never forgot. It was a very low, deep bass hum this thing was generating. And that's what they said. So I think when you start dealing with that and things that might have some type of actually resurrection technology, that's it. You know what I mean? That's a type of it, I think. Just that energy, that life energy that runs the equipment.
So is that why there are people who die and they freeze their bodies in those places, like the chambers, so that they can come back?
Do you mean the people that are doing that right now through those companies to try to preserve themselves? I'll tell you, that type of cryogenic science is coming a long way, but I don't know if I would trust it yet.
You may not be unfrozen. Yeah. Just freeze me until technology advances enough to heal me. Yeah, but you might be frozen for 1,000 years, and you may come back to a world that you don't even recognize. I don't know if that's healthy, and I don't even know that they'll keep your body for that long. Who's paying the rent on that body?
And the other thing is, does the soul stay with the body that long?
I don't think so.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So when they revive you, are you just a cadaver when they revive you?
Yeah. Who's in that body? Or who's taking over that vessel?
When you're sleeping. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, C-Star.
Huh?
Oh no, go ahead, C-Star.
Oh, I was saying I don't think the soul is with the person because I feel like when you are sleeping, your soul, my mom always says that, like, your soul leaves and it travels to different places, and that's where dreams come from.
Yes.
Well, the gurus always said in the early books I read, they were always saying that the soul goes to the moon when we dream, and also that we incarnate through the moon. But they were the first people I ever heard saying stuff like that long before Art Bell was talking about the dark side of the moon. Mm-hmm. So that's just one of those things there, and that's food for thought if nothing else.
Oh, thank you. That was a lot. And thank you for telling me.
Wonderful.
I hope it helped.
Thank you for calling, C-Star. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask one last question before I go. I do about the whole extraterrestrials. When I search up Andromedans, I don't see them I never see pictures of them as female. I see them like bald and lighter color.
Yeah, because you're only hearing them from the perspective. Yeah, you're only hearing perspectives from people. Huh? You're only hearing the story and perspectives of contactees of a certain type of Andromedan. Remember, the Andromedan star system has a lot of different beings, a lot of species, so a multitude. And usually you'll only hear about one particular one, which is usually the blue, smaller beings that most people are in contact with. Remember, the beings that I'm in contact with happen to be in the Andromedan star system, but they are not from the Andromedan star system. They actually are Terra beings. They were females that came from a matriarchy that was online in the Mayan culture. When the last cataclysm happened, they happened to go in inner earth. When they went into inner earth, based on their gene pool, they were allowed to go in. They have a chromosomal quality that allowed them to walk into inner earth. Not everybody can just walk into the inner earth caverns. They came upon a stargate that allowed for them to go to the Andromedan star system, where they befriended a group of insectilians, more like ant beings. And once they were there, they stayed there for a while. Now, some of them had splintered and came to the earth and reseeded the planet with some of their bloodlines. And I am one of them. So you won't hear about them because the people who have that intel would have to look like me. And the only people that the Andromedans would be in contact with most likely would be part of themselves. Like they say.
90 seconds.
Oh, wait, hold on, C-Star. For anyone who's deciding to call, you have 90 seconds to call in. The number is 515-605-9881. You only have 90 seconds to call in. If you decide to call in, this is the time you call in. We go into our bonus hour, and after that, you won't be able to call in. I'm sorry. Who's that? What was that?
I guess I have to go so I can give other people a chance to talk and ask questions. Sorry.
Well, thank you. No worries. No worries, C-Star.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I can get in contact 60 seconds. Some of you, because sometimes I don't really have a lot of people to talk to and people who understand me. So it would be nice if I can get in contact with people who think like me. So thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have a wonderful evening. Thank you again. Peace.
Peace.
Okay. We're going to go to our next caller.
Sure.
How did you
think? Call. Those are really good calls. Good questions.
They are. They're really good questions, and really it's answering a lot of questions that most people don't. Again, like the young C-Star said previously, they don't. Who are you going to go to have these conversations? Because if you talk to your friends or family who are out of this sect or out of this level of consciousness, they'll think you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They might actually put you in a paddy wagon.
10 seconds.
So it's always good to
reminded that.
Yeah. It's always good to be and surround yourself with people of similar and like frequencies, so that you're building and you're growing, and you're disallowing people to treat you as if you're out of alignment, when actually you're coming in alignment. Growing consciousness, growing in frequency is only something that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to evolve, not devolve. And as you see on the planet, there's a lot of beings here who are very complicit with staying in old patterns of behaviors and not accepting things that are right before them because it makes them feel uncomfortable, or they're not in that privileged position anymore if they observe that there are other beings here who have a super amount of technology and have their intellect supersedes anything that they would even come in contact with in their daily lives. And that is frightening for many. So it's understandable that many would not even want to have these conversations. Let's go to our next caller. Next caller is 323-4879. You're on the line with Barry Littleton and FleurBrun. Peace, family. 323.
Hey, family. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi.
Greetings.
Peace. Hi, Barry. I'm good.
Hey,
I'm just shocked. I keep getting picked. I love you, Barry. I love you, Fleur. Family, I love y'all.
I appreciate
You're
you.
powerful beings. That's all I have to say. Confirmation on everything.
Grateful.
This call, by the way. All right. Peace, and take your next call. Love you.
Okay. Love you too. Peace, C-Star. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, wow.
That was very nice.
Well, thank you.
Okay, we'll take our next caller, 704-4770. You're on the line with FleurBrun and Barry Littleton. Peace, family.
Wow. Peace. How y'all doing tonight?
We doing good. How you doing, C-Star?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. This is Aisha.
Hi, Aisha.
From North Carolina.
North Kakaleki's in the house.
Hi, FleurBrun. You remember the kid?
Yes, the North Carolina is on fire right now in consciousness. Big up to your people up in North Carolina.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, y'all. Yeah, the consciousness in North Carolina is wild.
Go ahead. What you say?
Oh, I was saying that the consciousness going on in your community in North Carolina, that state is on fire. Y'all open up vortexes. Everybody's awakening. It's beautiful. I've met more sea stars from North Carolina that are far way more awake than some of the other states. It means something's going on. Whatever's in your water, keep drinking it.
and I don't drink it.
That's probably why you still. That's probably why you waking up. Oh
wow.
What's up, C-Star?
Okay, so I know you got people who have actually had some real life experiences going on. So I'm going to keep it brief. We went to my car for a minute for some quiet.
Yes.
I wanted to ask really quickly. Can you hear me good?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
All right. Peace, Barry Littleton. I looked at some of your videos, Joe. I think you're the bomb too, also.
Oh, well, thanks.
All right. Okay, so last time I talked to you, FleurBrun, you were talking to me about going to, I think it was Arizona.
Arizona, I remember. You were supposed to sing underneath the tree and then make your migration of Arizona. I remember.
Yes. Okay, good. You know who it is.
Yep.
Bring it up to the Bronx. I heard you the other day talking about how it happened in the Bronx.
What?
I was like, you know what I'm saying? Put it down, baby. Put it down. You know.
They don't give credit to the Bronx. They need to honor it.
Yeah, born and raised, yo.
That's what I'm saying. BX representing. They told me to stay out of the Bronx, and I've been there ever since. I go every time I get a chance. What? What's good? I love it.
It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it.
It isn't. It's beautiful.
It was awesome too.
Thank you.
Okay, so real quick, I just wanted to ask this because I'm still having some issues with just being here.
Okay.
Like I'm having a lot of issues with work, and I really feel homesick. Everybody keeps saying who does any Akashic work that I am an origin Earth person, which is fine. I love the Earth. Mm-hmm. I'm having some issues connecting, and I'm feeling very lost. I don't want to be a part sometimes of a lot of things that's going on, and I wish I knew more entities like myself. I'm very simple, probably even boring.
You're not boring, no.
Barry, did you pick up any energies? I know FleurBrun was talking about the reptilians and the inner caverns, and you were like, don't be scared, oh my God. Like when you hung up, you was like, I hope I'm not scaring her. But I was like, well, you know, the blood type may have something to do with that portion, but I just don't feel like I belong anywhere here. I don't know where to go, and it's kind of hectic. What guidance or any piece of guidance can be given at this point?
Sometimes our perspectives shouldn't be quantified the way they are, and for you, you said that you have these people telling you that you're this earth spirit and all this and that. Well, maybe this incarnation, but your energy really doesn't feel like that to me. And I would say this, when we start dealing with our origins as far as souls go, and on the soul line, a lot of us are just as much interdimensional and from different multi-dimensions as we are out in space.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to say that you come from another dimension of Earth, but I don't know. But there's reasons why you're completely uninvolved here. This place isn't your vibration. It feels like an experiment here to you, doesn't it?
Well, it feels like I don't belong here, and there's no specific place for me, so people just use me kind of like a good luck charm, or not necessarily always a good luck. So whatever I have to offer, people feel like they should just go ahead and have it at it. And I feel like, well, where's my placement here? I never really found one. I do like helping, but sometimes I'm just straight up like abused, I feel.
Okay. A lot of the people are agreeing with you too, C-Star. There's a lot of people on here right now on the queue who are saying they feel just like you. And I know that it's challenging to feel this way and not have any resolve, because usually we have a remedy. And you're trying to figure out why you feel this way and what is the remedy for trying to find a placement or at least some solace that you can feel like there's a home for you. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And to a certain degree, I can relate. I personally think you're not in a placement where you are matching the frequency of the beings around you. And yes, people will say I'm nomadic. You already know how I am. I come from foreign people, so we don't mind leaving countries. Well. You know how I get down. As a Sagittarius, we leave. I'm a nomad. home is where I put my feet and my bags down. That's my home. So I feel like you're a little out of placement. I also feel like Barry has a good point. I think I feel that you might be from a dimension part of Earth that is a little obviously more cohesive. You're very musical. You have a very, very artistic feeling about you. You have a very, very earthy, beautiful connection. I think you just can't find it here because the matrix is really sticky. It's like being in a hood and every single corner. It doesn't matter if you're living in a Taj Mahal or you're living down in a hood somewhere. It still feels sticky and icky down in this matrix. And it's hard for any being to feel comfortable because every time you turn a corner, there's another person trying to take advantage, or a syphocyte or a parasite or a vampiric. I understand why you feel this way. So I don't want you to be upset with yourself for feeling that way, but I personally think your location is out of your frequency. That's why you're not feeling in sync with it. And I personally think that there will be a place that you find with people who are like you, and that will feel more like home. I think what your tribe is, your vibe is your tribe. I think when you find a place where you have more similar people to yourself personally, who you are in sync with, it's hard when you're from the city, New York City, because there's not many people like us. There's just not. And it's hard to vibe with everybody. So I think eventually you'll find your tribe, and I think it'll make you feel more like home. But I think right now you're kind of just a little more isolated based on the fact that you're not matching your environment. That's just my opinion. What do you think, Barry?
A question. Do you read a lot?
I always have books, but I seldom stay up and read. I kind of blame it on my work because after work it's just sleeping and wake up and work. And then when I get breaks from work, I kind of like just veg out kind of. So I don't read, but I do listen to a lot of lectures and I do try to gather information. And when I do want info, I'll go and read all of it. So it just depends.
I hear you. Yeah, lecturing takes a lot of energy, doesn't it? I'm getting this, that there's a book called Earth, the Only Planet of Choice.
Okay.
And I think you might enjoy it. And when I say that, it's a channel book, and normally I won't promote those, but this is a pretty good one. And it's channeled by these beings that say they're from the Council of Nine and that they're from the Zone of Cold. But most importantly, they start talking about, the word they use is civilizations, Civilstations. And when they start talking about that, they start talking about some of the different octaves and energy levels of Earth. Earth is like the layers of an onion. They're just dimension upon dimension. But they start talking about some of the other dimensions and giving these names, and also names that of civilizations that are within close proximity of Earth in a different dimension. So you may be dealing with, I think, something similar to that, enough to where everything here is going to be uninteresting, somewhat foreign, and just energetically not really acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And also she can do audio books. Just know that she doesn't have to books, you can do audio books. So it's actually nice to get the book and get the audio version so you can kind of listen to it when you're lying down. You know what I mean? It's a nice version so you can actually read a book without actually reading a book, because it can be a little monotonous sometimes if it's not your thing.
Yes. Okay, I do that at times when I find something that's interesting and listen to the information, or Google or like YouTube, and they've had it all on there, so I'll listen. Also, I've been nomadic pretty much my whole life. Yeah. I think I sat still as I was in North Carolina the most. But me and my mother traveled all the time, like for different reasons. But we never had a particular. I don't have roots.
But that's what I'm thinking. I think a lot of people, everybody's different. Not everybody's cut from the same cloth. Just like you said that, like you remind me of me a little bit. I like areas, but I tend to get a little bored. And then I want to go to a new environment and absorb it and learn it. And it's exciting for me. So I think sometimes there's a lot of promotion for people to stay in one place. Not everybody's like that. You might just be like that. You might like traveling, seeing different countries and different parts of the world and experiencing new tongues. You know what I mean? Maybe you would find some enjoyment out of doing that if it's feasible and if it's affordable. And I know how to travel on a lot of money, and I know how to travel on a budget. We're New Yorkers. New Yorkers know how to take the subway, and we also know how to take a cab when we have a little extra dough. And then sometimes we get a little limo service, when we get a little bit of extra money. So we know how to travel when it's necessary and how to travel when it's more applicable to our situation. I just think you haven't found your tribe.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I remember walking. If I had to go uptown,
backpack it there and then take a cab back.
Yes,
right.
Many people don't know that. Sometimes
New Yorker, baby.
We do that, and I think that kind of quality of person that is cultivated in that culture of New York. New York is a culture. It literally is. It doesn't matter what complexion you are. It is a culture, and it's kind of we have a code of ethics and how we pretty much are driven in our lives. So I think if we're taking that in consideration, I think you might not be in a place. North Carolina is cool, and like I said, it's on fire of consciousness right now. But you might not be matching the people there. And I think Arizona, for some reason, it keeps coming in my head. I feel like your tribe is there. I feel like you're gonna meet some real cool people that you didn't even but transplants. These people may not even be from Arizona. I feel like you're gonna meet some transplants like us who are going to happen to be there. And I think you're going to meet your tribe. It feels like your tribe is coming. I just think there's going to be a time and place for it. I personally think that. I think Barry, what he's saying is very relative. I think you come from another space and time, another permeation of this timeline, another timeline. And it's not like this. It's more cohesive. It's more you. And she might be suffering from the Mandela effect too, all the convergence of these timelines, and just fell in part of a timeline it's not fun. It sucks. So I think that could be the case.
Yeah, but you know what? I see them trying to insert that, but I always get to enjoy the old stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff that we value from back then, the music, the movies.
Yes.
I go back in my dreams to the old neighborhoods all the time in New York, like in my dreams and stuff. Yeah. But I'm feeling like not wanting to be here anymore. I don't feel suicidal, but I have had to watch my mouth when saying like I'm tired of being here. Like this is not, the existence for me. And I'm just like almost upset. I hold back my upset a lot, and I just press and go to work. It's so much going on, and I just want to be where I'm useful and there's some kind of joy. It is really, it's not even a depression. It's just a tired of this shit type of thing. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I've been pressing through it. But it's tough. It makes me into an angry person. Like I'm just not approachable anymore. It's getting worse. Like it's not lightening up at all. So something's got to give. You know what I'm saying? So, but I appreciate all the info. I will look up that book or go to the library and see if they have it. And you think it'll be at the library, Barry?
It could be. It could be. I mean, I will say, at the risk of sounding like Mr. Sunshine, all right, and Mr. Optimistic, let me tell you, you may be feeling this way also, just because this is straight up a prison planet, and you're not supposed to be here, and you're not trying to be caught in this reincarnation cycle that this place is, and you see this, and you see the truth is that everybody talks about things are going to change, and the other beings are going to take over here, this and that, and the truth is it's not going that way here at all. It's going worse, and it's getting worse here. And I've been hearing that crap since 1988. How it's going to get better, and we're going through the photon belt, and we're this and that. And none of that has happened. Things have gotten more messed up. People have destroyed the sphere we live on even more, to the point of where we're facing extinction. And that, so maybe that is so much the reality of that on a soul level, that you're from a different vibration, and just dealing with this and being here in this vibration plane sucks. That's what
Barry kept it. Barry went there. Barry kept it real.
But I'm just being honest. I'm sorry, what's that?
Barry kept it real. Barry went straight for the gutter. He was like, yes, it's garbage here. He basically said it. He said this place is a garbage pail.
I mean, it's so dangerous here. You're lucky if you can make it to work without getting killed. You can get slammed in your car. You might meet some maniac jumping out on you trying to rob you. I mean,
we're not having that.
This place is a trip, though. This is a dangerous place. It's very hellish here. Very hellish. And if you go one vibration lower than this, no thank you. That would be pure hell. There would be mongrels and Conan the Barbarian and all them everywhere jumping out on you everywhere.
Oh, Lord.
It'd be horrible.
Barry probably made you feel better for talking about the Montauk. Listen,
I'm just kidding. I'm really Mr. Sunshine. Don't get me wrong.
No, but I think it's a matter of it's okay for you to feel that way. I don't want you to beat up on yourself for feeling this way because as we see in the chat right now, a lot of people feel just as you, and it means that it's a general consensus that this place is not easy. It's tough, and people are tired. It's kind of like we worked through it. We did all our mantras. We ate well. We did all the positive thinking. When is it going to give? You know, when are we going to benefit and gain the rewards for our hard work? And I understand that because it's kind of like, and I'm going to be honest, C-Star, from a perspective, and I think I felt this last week. I felt like there was a moment where I was sitting there and I was like, okay, I'm doing everything in my power to stay in alignment. And I felt like I wanted to enjoy. I wanted to have the peace that comes after the war. Do you know what I mean? Like the war is happening, right? And it's like, you know, the soldiers are just beat up. They fought, they're stabbed up, they have scars, they're maimed. I'm ready for the peace. Yes, I'm ready for the peace after the war. That's how I feel right now. I feel like I'm ready for the celebration. I'm ready to go back home and celebrate and chill and just chill for like the next 1,000 years until we got to go through this again. I'd be okay to chill for 1,000 years right now, eating mangoes naked, listening to KRS-One and some jungle music.
And preparing to make it better the next time around.
That's right.
It's just unreasonable that beings are inhabited on Earth to go through all of this junk. It's crazy.
It is. It is. They laugh and everybody's laughing.
So I'm telling you, we need to chill and then we need to gear up.
We do. We have to be prepared. They're laughing because I said KRS-One and mangoes. I'm cut from New York. What do you think?
In Japan, it's Ichiban. KRS Ichiban.
Number one rap star. We know. South, baby.
Stop.
Yeah.
I'm trying to enjoy. But I think at this case, if I could give you any advice, it would be to keep it moving. Try to stay as positive as you can. I know it's tough, but also whenever you get to the point where you feel like you can't go any further and nothing is lightening up, our ancestors are always with us. And when I fall apart, I go straight to the ancestors because no one will tell you, no one will know you better than the posse of energetic beings that rock with you, whether you know they're there or not. And a lot of them are your personal blood relatives that are attached to your auric field that are made and geared to assist you through these tough times. And a lot of times people will talk about Yeshua, they'll talk about Jesus Christ, they'll talk about Muhammad, but they never ever talk about that grandmother who passed away, who used to take care of all the grandchildren, who loved her family instinctively.
You better shut up, FleurBrun. That's what's going on with me right now. That's what's going on. All that you just said. Go ahead.
Yes. Go to her. Go to that one ancestor that you know had infinite love for her family. Go to her. You notice I said her. Go to her and say, I'm done. You know how they have that wonderful prayer of like, you know, I think it's called the footprints in the sand when they say Jesus Christ carried you when you were too heavy, like I couldn't walk any further. Why do we have to use an entity that we don't even know personally? You know this woman personally. You know these women that passed personally. They are you. They incarnate back into our children. They got your back. These are your homies. Ask for that. Ask for your ancestors. Say, it's too much for me to bear. I need you. I need to, even if I just rest on a shoulder for a moment so that I can get some reprieve. I guarantee you, it's happened every single time to me. They will come to your aid. You need to do that, because don't go to others outside of your family. Go to your family and go to your ancestors who you know had your back or had the family's back, because you may not even know them, but any ancestors connected to you have your best and highest interest. Best believe that.
Have you come into contact with some coins? Like, anybody try to give you some old coins lately or something like that?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't see anything with some coins. The only thing, there was a guy at the store, he almost gave me $1 coin, but in the dream, I saw a coin. I wouldn't read it. I was just paying attention to something else, but there was a likeness on the coin, and I didn't see what it said. I just saw a likeness.
Interesting.
But no.
Were you close? Were you close to your grandmother on your mother's side?
Yes.
She's coming in real clear.
Yes, she is.
And it's something about coins. So I don't know if maybe somebody has some coins she might have had, or some coins you're coming into contact with that is just connected to her. And I think they're important. It may happen soon. Just remember that, look for something that's a sign from her. I just keep picking up coins, but definitely grandma on your mother's side.
Beautiful.
Only thing I saw was some flowers in a dream. It was for her birthday, and her birthday was yesterday.
Woo!
And,
She came in. What?
She was a Taurus, so
what?
that might be the coin.
What?
For the earth, the pentacle, but I don't know, because they've all like, huh?
You just gave me chills.
You did. You have yeah. She came to this platform right now because you could feel it, and that's why I was like, go to that person, go to her. That's who has your back. If anything else, when you feel that moment in quiet and peace, go to her. She knows what's good for you. She will gear you in the right direction. She'll motivate you. She'll support you. She'll hold you down. And also she'll lead you in a direction that's best and for your highest interest.
Okay. I keep, and this will be relevant for you. I don't know exactly. I keep getting a deer jumping around. I don't know if that means you jump around a lot, but I keep getting a deer jumping around.
Did she call you Doe? Did she used to have a nickname for you?
No, Pooh.
I wonder if she used to see you.
Pooh was what she called me.
Aw, I think that's so sweet. There's something, there may be a symbolism there that she's giving. It could be how she saw you as her granddaughter. It could be something she referenced to other people. So be mindful and look out for that. And happy birthday, Grandma. Strong. Happy birthday. Happy post-birthday.
Strong little person. Very strong little.
I love it. And
Nora, thank you.
Nora said the deer means protection. Nora just said that. So that's a little message.
Thank you.
So keep positive. We keep it real. Keep it gangster. But try to open yourself and be receptive to assistance from your granny and your ancestors. Please do that.
Okay.
All right, Mama?
Thank you, you guys.
Love you.
Yes, thank you.
You do well. Peace.
I love y'all. Have a good evening. All right.
Take care.
All
good
right.
Evening.
You too.
Okay. Let's go to, hold on. Go to our next caller. Okay. 781-2404. You're on the line with FleurBrun and Barry Littleton. Peace, family. 781-2404.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, C-Star. Peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Barry. Hi, Fleur. Love you too.
Aw, appreciate
How you
that.
doing?
Appreciate you.
Good. I'm enjoying the show.
Good.
I'm so happy.
Aw.
I'm happy I got through and talked to you guys.
Oh, that's right. I haven't talked to you for a while.
I'm trying to think what I want to talk about because I kind of faded out listening to the last person.
I know.
Oh, okay. I want to see what you think of something. Okay, I'm A negative blood with RH factor, and after I had my babies, I had to have a shot of Rosam. That thing hit. Well, before I found you guys here, my familial here, I had did Ancestry.com. I kind of wish I didn't.
Okay.
And when I sent the blood in, the DNA in, they come back to me and said that they couldn't figure out my DNA, that I had to resend it. So I sent it back in, and then they give me the results. And I just found that kind of strange. Do you think that they maybe spilled it or something, or do you think there's something a little more sinister about that?
Well, in working in genetics and heredity, I wish I could give you something sinister, but a lot of times it's because you didn't give them enough or it was compromised. It does happen in genetics and heredity a lot.
Okay.
That does happen. So I don't want to make it seem sinister when it's not. It could have been compromised. It could have been something could have another chemical could have gotten on it and altered the results, or they weren't able to get results based on that. So I think it probably was compromised more than anything else by something natural and rather than unnatural. Because it's happened in laboratories and I've seen it several times. So I know that's usually the case.
Okay. That's good to know. Mm-hmm. I was like, what is this? I didn't know anybody else that had that happen to them. So I was saying, okay.
Yeah. And also, you have A negative. You again, the A, B, and A, that's a lot of that indigenous, the Asian, that's an Asian. You mix with the Native indigenous here, but more Asiatic. You have some of that indigenous, what we consider to be Asiatic blood.
Well, I did find out that I'm a member of the Chappaquiddick Wampanoag tribe here in Massachusetts. I did find that out around that same time.
Good job.
I couldn't figure out where that blood type came from.
Yep.
It's obscure. I don't know where it was from. My mother couldn't understand what was going on with it, so I guess that's what it was.
Yes, yeah. And whenever I see that A negative, I can... Oh no, go ahead, Cesar. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I don't sound like it's far away. It must be my phone. I'm going to say, I said if I got to talk to you tonight, I would mention something to you, a dream I had about your conference, which I really didn't want to mention, but I'm not worried about it now because you said you had protection. You said you had security. So that took the fear away. But right before you started talking about that, I had this dream of everybody, you, and it was like a big conference type thing, but it was a beautiful place. It was very tropical, building with waterfalls and stuff. And I wasn't there personally, it's like I was observing.
Yes.
But when everybody went up high, these people came in to try to hurt. And they were soldiers. I got two images. I got soldiers, and I also got aliens that were tall, and they were dressed in like gray overalls. I can't remember the faces. Yeah. I just know they were tall, and they had like gray overalls. They were behind the soldiers, and they were coming to hurt everybody. And I said, no, I don't want to talk about that. I'm not going to try to reach her with this foolishness. My daughter said, I think you need to, just let her know to make sure she has security. Because I know people are kind of messing with you lately. So I just want you to be safe. I want everybody to be really safe. I wish I could be there, but I can't. Okay. And I just gave the message out. And that's
I appreciate the intel. Okay. And you know how I roll. I'll make sure that it's safe. And just like I have some professional security, I have some goons there too. So for when people come a little sideways and they come non-professional with their messiness, we got some goons for them, and they straight from New York and the Bronx. So don't start none, won't be none. Because if they want to be messy, remember,
because you're very important to us.
Yes. Just remember, don't start none, won't be none. My premise is, as long as I'm in my own world, leave me be. But if you come for me, you will be met.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that, though. I appreciate the intel. I will make sure I'm cautious. I'll make sure I'm cautious. But I'm about that life. You know, I smile in the face of sometimes some of these things because, you know, when people challenge you, they're testing your strength and your agility, and they've tested the right one. So it is what it is. If they want to take that. Yeah. So no, but I appreciate it. And like I said, I've taken precautions and we will be safe. And if any aliens come with gray suits, we will make sure we will have aliens that will be able to deal with those aliens that come in gray suits. It is what it is.
You just want the good ones there. You have to say you want to take a trip home.
I'm just saying, you know, the likelihood of,
just the good ones.
Well, remember, the governmental agents have a tendency.
Okay, well, that was mine.
Oh, no, I was saying the governmental agents.
Government stuff.
Yeah, the government stuff, they're very covert and they hide themselves. They wouldn't come overtly like that. I know that because they don't want it televised.
Good. Everything has to be in the shadows, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, well, I appreciate you, C-Star. Thank you for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
All right, peace.
Have a good night, both of you.
Same to you.
Barry.
Thank you. You take care.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to go on to the next caller, 770-3677. You're on the line with FleurBrun and Barry Littleton. Peace, family. 770-36. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, peace.
Hi.
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 Hello.
Well,
I'm not sure if you remember me, but I was the lucid dreamer, the 17-year-old, a few shows ago.
Okay, can you refresh me a little bit? I'm not sure.
Because I called in and I was asking about how I kept looking back and I kept hearing some engine or some helicopter over me flying away every time I would have like an emotional or bad dream.
Okay. Is that still happening?
No, it stopped happening after that. But I did try to look more into trying to lucid dream. That actually, well, I haven't really been able to lucid dream, but I think what happened is because I was trying to lucid dream pretty hard, I started to jump like timelines instead because I started having like memories from like nowhere, but I know they happened, but at the same time I know they didn't happen. Like I would be sitting in one spot and then I would have a memory of me, like I have a memory of me having this full out like conversation about something.
Yeah.
Although I never had that full out conversation.
You're having memories, shadow memories. Yes.
Yeah, like those type of memories that happen a lot. And but I called in to say because there's a reoccurring experience happening with me right now.
Yes.
And it connects with the rain. I've been more focused on both self-healing and looking to things like different types of like kinesis and, you know, supernatural powers and everything. I did look up things related to like clairvoyance and clairaudience and, you know, the sixth senses.
Yes.
And ever since I was little, I always had a feeling that I could talk to spirits that have like passed away if I really wanted to. I never have done so because, I always had that feeling, but I never have done so, you know, because that's not, it's not something that I don't think anyone would typically want to just.
I understand. You have a little fear. You have a little fear of it.
I had thought about it lately, and so I actually searched it up about, you know, seeing if there's anybody else who have communicated with spirits. If so, like how did they do it, or how did they be able to tell like what the spirit or soul may actually be? And so I did some research on that. But what I wanted to say, because I did step away from my computer a bit to go, you know, use the restroom, but I felt like there's this presence around me. It's not a negative presence. I think it's more of a protective presence around me.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I'm mentioning this is because I feel like they might have seen it while I was away from my computer, because that night, my light started to flicker inside my room.
Okay.
And, the first time, I wasn't paying much attention to it, but then it flickered again. And usually that's one of the signs for when the spirit or an ancestor is trying to contact you.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yes.
The thing that happened.
Trying to get your attention. They're trying to get your attention.
After it flickered about 2 to 3 times, I asked the spirit inside my head. I did it mentally because I didn't speak out loud. But I asked, if they were here, and if they were, to make the light flicker once again, and it did flicker again. And trying to communicate for the first time, I was still, I was trying not to be scared. Be leveled and calm, and have a higher, understanding and overstanding. That nothing can really overpower you unless you allow it to.
That's right.
And so I tried to figure out, who they may be or so. It wasn't a negative spirit though, because I could tell that they weren't trying to hurt me or harm me.
Okay.
But what happened is that when they came, it was like heavy rain, and clouds just came over the house, just heavy, showering it really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Until I was starting to get a little bit scared, but that was my own nerves. And so I kind of asked for it to go away, because I was like, okay, I'm obviously not ready for this.
I understand.
A little spooked, so I asked it to go away, and it did. But when it did, the rain both stopped, and my lights and everything stopped. But the reason I'm mentioning that is because a lot of times, it's usually either after I cry, if I happen to have a not so good day, or I cry, it's the harder I cry, the harder a storm comes.
Oh.
Usually right the day afterwards.
Interesting.
And it's been that way the past few times, actually, probably since the beginning of this year, where every time that I would cry or have some sad emotions, the next day heavy rain or thunderstorm would come, and I've been feeling the presence with me lately. It was just, I didn't know why it had happened to heavily rain like that when the spirit was here, and then go once the spirit has left, or I asked it to go, because I was getting a bit nervous and trying not to get scared and everything. But I was asking if you may have any intel as to what that may be, or.
Well, I'm going to let Barry. Well, I'll say one thing, and maybe Barry has something a little more, a little more to share with it. I personally think if you're crying and you're having that sort of, because even when I talk about abilities, a lot of times when people are having their abilities come online, whether it be telekinesis, whether it be pyrokinetic energy, whether it be invisibility, one things that I find that has a tendency to trigger those abilities to come online is some emotional driven energy frequency that usually provokes an ability to show up. And what I think you may be doing when you're crying and having this overwhelming emotionally driven, vibration, you might be opening portals or having some sort of ability to manipulate weather, or open a portal that might be connected to that weather change, or bringing in weather based on a kinetic energy changing or shifting. It could be that. Just because you're saying that you're having an emotional driven, because something is emotionally driving you, usually that's a trigger for an ability to show up. And if you're noticing a pattern of something happening every time you're having a certain amount of crying, or maybe you're angry, I always note to take that if it's a trend, if it's something that is being consistently perceived and seen as connected to one thing, chances are that's more relative. But what do you think, Barry?
Well, as you talked, something keeps coming up. Okay, so I'm trying to decide if this is your personal lineage or if it might be coming from the land that you're staying on, and that is Native American. Picking that up to sight. Are you Native American?
Yeah, I do have Cherokee blood on both sides of my family. Wow. But I think I recently, because I did ask the question, and when I ask questions to more find out stuff, I usually do it without going to research it first. Like I may ask a question and then I give some time without me really focusing on getting the answer. It's kind of like asking a question out to the universe and kind of expecting like an answer or answers to show up.
Wow.
So I usually kind of do that for a few days. And then afterwards, that's when I go online and try to research everything. But I asked the question more about really knowing my ancestry. And I recently found out that my mother, on her side, that she was born with red hair, which I'm melanin. And I have Cherokee blood on both sides. My mom, I don't know if she's a positive or negative, but she is an old blood. And my dad is A. And I'm A also, A plus. Okay. And so I live in Georgia also.
Oh.
I think you should start researching the red-haired skulls of Paracas, Peru. Start looking into that a little bit and start looking into those people, okay?
Okay.
Even more so because I think you got two things going on. One is you're Native American, but also that land, wherever you're residing right now, you've got stuff coming out of the land also that might be also enhancing your abilities. And what I'm also picking up is that you are part of lineage-wise what used to be known as weather shamans.
Yes.
Okay? So you've got some spirits coming to you, and not just elemental, they're weather spirits. And they come with storms.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
And you're helping, you also have the ability to evoke them, probably a new ability or an ability you've got. But I mean, I think that maybe you've got the things I just described, I think for you are not the separate things that we think they should be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of get it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're getting your bloodline is activating the land you're staying on.
Oh yes.
And it's also accessing genetically your soul life abilities genetically, which is going to be weather type of control. I'd be surprised if you haven't even been more into weather control and meteorology and stuff like that for a long time.
Oh, wow. That's weird because I've been looking more at the different, pieces and everything, like a little nerd to look at supernatural related powers and everything. But
don't do me a favor, my friend. Please don't underestimate yourself. Stop doing that. And everything you deal with and everything you describe is very advanced. It's not amateur stuff. And I think you discredit yourself a lot. I just feel that. So give yourself a lot of props. Everything you're dealing with on a highly advanced level. And that's no BS. You know what I mean? Most people aren't even thinking that way. They're too busy paying their bills. They don't even have time to think on the concept that you are. So give yourself much credit. You know what I mean? It's much more powerful.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for that. That's actually something I've been hearing lately also through many signs and even numbers and stuff. I do have a tendency to to not really pat myself on the back, I guess, appropriately. But yes, I really appreciate that. And what did you say to search up again? It was Redhead Schools of
Paracas, Peru. Paracus, Peru. there were these red skulls that were found there. And that will take you into also what's called the Dropa disc, DROPA disc. They're all kind of connected. That deals with star beings who are red-haired that walked here on Earth. And still now, they say, in the mountains of Peru, some of those cities there, you can still see people that are descendants of these extraterrestrials with red hair.
Red hair.
Normally, people of Mayan descended or something like that with red hair, though.
Absolutely.
Very interesting.
That's weird because that's weird because I just recently had a dream and I woke up and I took a note of it right quick. But it was something, I forgot what it was called. It's in my phone somewhere, but I wrote a note as soon as I woke up because sometimes right before I wake up, I have like a really vivid image that pops up. And the first one was it was me along these other people, and they looked more Native American, but I knew they were people that I have walked through some mountains a few times in my dreams with. And the second one was a name, but when I tried to search it up, it led to places inside of Peru. So I was just wondering how you just mentioned that.
There you go.
I got to cut you off. I don't mean to be rude, but I got to tell you something. I need you to write this down, okay? Please.
Okay.
The Cloud People of Peru. Google that. I think you're going to find that's where maybe some of your lineage might lay.
Yes.
And specifically, pay attention to the figurines, the statues that were drawn of those people. And that's going to take you into what's called the Bird Tribes. And that's a book by Ken Carey, The Return of the Bird Tribes. Check all that out. I think you're going to find it beneficial.
Okay.
Informative to say the least, right?
All right, thank you, C-Star, so much for sharing.
I really like your laugh.
Thank you so much for calling in.
No trouble over the years.
All right, C-Star.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your night.
And I really appreciate the platforms that you guys are providing for everyone because it really helps me. I don't have many friends right now, but so I really enjoy the platforms that you guys provide.
Thank you.
One last thing. I'm picking this up too. One last thing. When dealing with situations, remember that self-esteem and self-confidence are two different things. Self-esteem is knowing what you come from, knowing that you're worth something, but self-confidence is can you tackle the task at hand at that time?
Yes.
So believe me, you have both and can do both. Don't doubt yourself on one of them. Whichever one it is, don't doubt it anymore. Stop.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're going to be fine. You have good opportunities coming your way. All you have to do is make sure that you stay awake and aware enough to notice them when they come and then seize them when they come. That's the thing. Look for opportunities coming your way. It's something I think going to change. If we were doing tarot cards, I would say you were going through a major arcana. I think you'd be pulling those type of cards
that's
right
cool.
now.
I love it. That's awesome.
Thank you very much. I have to hurry up and go. Nobody knows I'm on here.
All right, C-Star. Thank you. Peace. Peace.
I love you all.
Love you.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Take care.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
Okay. We're going to go quickly to our next call, 702-5302. You're on the line with FleurBrun and Barry Littleton. Peace, family. Peace.
Hello?
Hello? Peace, C-Star. 702?
702?
That's you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Peace.
Hi, FleurBrun.
Hi, Mama.
This is Sunray Eye.
Hey, how are you?
I am so good. Oh my God.
can't believe I got through to you guys. Hi, Barry.
Hey, how you doing? How are you?
I am so excited right now, you guys. I lay here in my bed and listened to everybody just to see if this was going to happen.
You did well. You did well. See, patience
I
wins.
have a question. Are you the person that wrote on Facebook today, "You hope you get through"? Was that you?
No, it wasn't, but you must have picked up my vibes because I was saying it to myself.
There was somebody else saying that they wanted to get through. Yeah, cipher.
Okay. FleurBrun, I have been waiting to talk to you.
Aww.
Okay, I have a couple of things that I need to be explained to me.
Okay.
The first thing is, one day I was at home and I decided to go into meditation. I prayed to the ancestors. I lit candles. I burned sage. I did all of that.
Yes.
So later on that night, I just did what I usually do. But later on that night, when I laid down to go to sleep, I decided I was going to go on YouTube and just pull up a tarot card reading for Sagittarius. I'm Sagittarius.
Yes. What?
For Sagittarius. Yes, and I tell you, as I was dozing off to sleep, the lady that was reading my tarot card, she kept saying, "I don't have a reading for you. Your ancestors keep coming through. Oh my God, I don't have anything to tell you. They just keep coming through. They just keep popping up. That's the only thing I can hear is your ancestors saying that they love you and that you are important to them." And when I got up the next morning, I could not find her anywhere. You know how you can go back on YouTube and rewatch what you watched? I couldn't find her anywhere.
Interesting.
So I wanted to know, was this them coming through to me, really coming through to me to let me know that they're here with me?
Well, yeah. Well, if I didn't know any better, the fact that you can find them, it's almost like when you see those people who help you in the street or help you and rescue you out of a difficult situation, and then all of a sudden you look around and they're gone, kind of like if people liken them to angels. She could have been sent purposefully to give you a message, kind of like something that's a little paranormal. And that's not uncommon, but it's kind of overt that it would happen on YouTube. It's a little... Maybe they thought that's the only way they could get you. It's on YouTube. Was it on YouTube?
I think so, because I could not find it. And she kept saying, "I don't have anything to tell you about what's going to happen in your life." She kept saying, oh my God, they just keep popping up. Your ancestors are just coming through and they want you to know that you're special and they love you.
That's beautiful.
Okay, now let me tell you this.
Yes.
This was about maybe 2 weeks ago. Now I have 3 kids. My 2 older kids are grown and they're out of the house, but I have my 16-year-old is here in my townhome. Okay. Now, when my kids were younger, I used to always sleep with my bedroom door open just so I can hear what's going on around my house because I was a single mom.
Yes, of course.
So just recently, maybe about 2 weeks ago, my son left and he went to spend the night over at my daughter's house. Okay. So I was here home alone, and I just left my bedroom door open even though he wasn't here because I'm used to doing it. Yeah. Well, I was laying in my bed and I fell asleep and something woke me up. I just opened my eyes and I watched my pillow. I did not move on my bed. I watched my pillow flip off my bed, hit my door, and close my door slowly. And I thought about, I should get up and open it up. But I said, no, I'm just going to go ahead and go back to sleep. So I drifted off back to sleep. And about maybe 3 or 4 in the morning, I got up to go get me a drink of water, and my whole kitchen and my living room was filled with gas. I had left the gas on my stove.
What?
Unknowingly. Yes, and I promise you, something closed my door. It was over my whole townhome except for in my room.
Wow. So you think something may have closed your door for your benefit or to hide it? What do you think?
I didn't hear you. Say it again.
Do you think that the door being closed was for your benefit to make sure you didn't, because that's carbon monoxide. It could have killed you. You could have been sleeping and died because of that. Okay, so something did it to
Yes,
to
I
help
think
you.
something closed my door.
Yeah, something did it to protect you. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
I think that everything that you said since I've been listening just absolutely sends chills down my spine as far as the word guardian angel has never been more accurate.
Wow.
Do you think?
I feel that and every day, like I drive buses, I drive city buses, so I always pray for protection because I come across so many different spirits or personalities, and I always tell myself I'm protected. I'm protected. I just say it over and over throughout my day, and I really believe I am protected because I promise you, I did not move. I just opened my eyes in the position that I was in on my bed, and I watched my pillow flip off the bed, hit the door, and close the door.
Wow.
You have a parent that's deceased, don't you?
I'm sorry?
Which parent is it that you were super close to that's deceased?
It was my stepdad.
Okay. He's a prime example. That's who's working with you there. And it's prime to remember that we don't understand consciousness, and that in some of us, we have such a loving bond with our ancestors that when we actually cross over, we turn into like a type of cherubim or a type of seraphim.
Yes.
That a part of us starts looking after our ancestors in a guardian angel type of protective way. And I think that's who that is. I think he's actually sending you some signals too that you might pick up on him. Otherwise than that too.
Yes, I pick up on him, and it's so weird because I remember when he first passed away, which was over like 30 years ago, but I was the closest to him out of my sisters and brothers.
Yes.
And I remember when he passed away, he came to me and I started crying. In a dream, he came to me and I was like, "Are you dead? Or are you alive? Like, stop playing with me. It's making me, it's making me sad." And all through my life, he's come to me. But every time he comes to me, I find myself, I wake up and I'm crying nonstop. I cannot stop crying.
Is he still around? I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt. I'm sorry.
A gentleman in a raincoat. In a raincoat? Yes, in a raincoat.
Maybe a trench coat?
Yes, it could be.
Wear a trench coat. Yeah, I knew it was him. I knew it.
It was his death was rather abrupt, wasn't it?
Thank you for using Blogtalk Radio. Goodbye.
It just disconnected them. Oh my gosh. I tried to. I wanted them to talk, but I tried to interrupt. Oh my gosh. Let's hold on, family. I want to see if I could. Oh wow. I apologize. It just cut them off. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I could actually give this young lady. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna give her a call back. I feel bad because I could always ask Barry in there. Whenever it cuts it off like that, they never give me the.
Hello?
Hey, I'm sorry, C-Star. I decided to call you back. I felt so bad. It disconnected.
I'm so glad that you did. I'm glad you did. I'm sitting here like nervous right now because Barry's hitting it right, everything right on the head. My God.
I'm gonna add him back on. We're gonna just do another. I'll give you another 5 minutes just so Barry can finish up because I felt like he was right in the zone and I felt so bad it cut off. So hold on 1 second. Let me add him back to the call independently. Hold on. Okay. I love having phone numbers because I can just call and finish up the call. She needed to get that, and I want her to get that transmission. Barry, hey, I'm gonna transfer you because the young lady, you were right in the midst of it. So I have her on the call. So I'm just going to pull her in so you can finish up because I felt like you were giving her gems right there and she needed it. She was so receptive. So hold on, Barry. Okay, Barry's back on, C-Star.
Okay.
Go ahead, Barry.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I want to, go ahead, Barry, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, I have one more to tell you guys really quick. Like one night, I use crystals. Like I have crystals and stones all over my house. I got pyramids and all types of stuff all over my house. A lot of comedic things, and I use comedic energy. Well, one night, I had made dinner. I had baked some chicken, and I made a kale salad with just tomatoes and onions. But I decided I wasn't going to eat the baked chicken. I was just going to have the kale salad, the onions, and the tomatoes. Everybody was in their room, like my son was in his room, and the guy I was dating was in our bedroom. So I was out in the kitchen by myself, and I decided to go ahead. And I had cleansed my stones, my crystal quartz that I wear with me every day. Mm-hmm. I had cleansed it, and then I decided to program it. And I programmed it. I'm going to tell you everything I programmed it with, but two things that I programmed it with was to raise my vibration, my energy, and connect me with my ancestors. Be careful what you ask for. Oh, my God. So later on that night, after I had eaten my salad, I went ahead and I laid down in bed. And no sooner than I laid down, my body started to vibrate so hard. I kept looking over at the guy I was dating, thinking, can he feel this? I don't know if he can feel this, but my spirit or my soul or my body, my whole being was vibrating. So I got up out of bed and I started pacing the floor, and I lay back down. And then for some reason, I think it was the vibration was cleansing me because I kept going back and forth, not to get like personal, back and forth to the restroom. I went like 10 times. And the last time I went in the restroom, my room and my bathroom were completely dark. I was just kind of walking around vibrating in the dark. And once I was in the bathroom, the last time I went in to use it, I seen a flashing light that lit up my bedroom and my bathroom. And the light was almost like, you know how if you have a bug that blows and you turn the light on and it'll flash and then go out?
I've had a flash.
That's how the light was like that in my bedroom, in my bathroom.
Yes.
So I got up and I went over to the window trying to see if there was like a ship or something that landed, but it wasn't. I said, I'm looking out the window and I'm like, okay, what was that? So I ended up putting my knee on the bed where I was about to lay down, and I seen these purple and green and red energies just like floating around my room, and they were coming towards me, and I took my hand and I pushed it back, and I started laughing, and I was saying, oh, wait, I gotta go to sleep, I gotta work in the morning. So I literally said it out loud. So when I laid down, I promise you guys, I was not asleep. I did not go straight to sleep. As soon as I laid down in the dark, my whole ceiling opened up. And I could see the universe. My ceiling disappeared. And it opened up, and a lady was standing over me, and she had on all white. And she had her hair pulled back in a tight bun. And she looked down at me, I guess, to see if I was paying attention. And I was just laying there. My eyes were open. And I was laying there, and a big, like, chime / dream catcher appeared in front of her. And it was hanging, and I could see the stars and planets around her. Wow. And a steel pole appeared in her hand. And she took the pole and she hit the chime. And I could hear the frequencies going into my ear. She hit it 3 times. And the third time that she hit that chime, I fell asleep instantly. Now, like I said, I drive buses. Yeah. When I went into a dream that I was sitting on my bus, holding my steering wheel, and I could feel like my index finger and my middle finger on both hands were holding on to the wheel. And it felt like something was biting me. When I looked down, it was a double-headed white snake biting both fingers, all 4 of my fingers. What? And I just stared at it, and it stared back up at me, and we were just looking at each other. But it seemed like the harder it bit, the longer I stared, the harder it bit down, to a point where I jumped up out of my sleep, and I was like, oh, my God. And my guy woke up, and he was like, what's wrong? I said, I think a snake was biting my hand. But it was only one body, but it was 2 heads, and it was pure white. And when I looked down, I was looking for bite marks on my fingers. Of course, I didn't find any because I was dreaming, but for the whole day when I got up for work, I had to keep getting off my bus and putting my hands in the water. My hands were burning for like 2 days. It was just burning. I couldn't stop them from burning. And it lasted like 2 days. So now, every so often, even when I talk about it, sometimes my hands will start to burn.
Wow.
Do you know what that was?
Well, it's a little odd because you've got a mixture of a couple of things I've experienced, and it's a little disconcerting because the burning when you said you got bitten, but it was on your hand, I remember having one of my conscious experiences when I was taken on a craft and something bit me in the neck from behind. I didn't see what it was, but it had that burning effect, like almost like you're getting anesthesia. That's how it felt. Right. But it's interesting that you said a white snake, and I just know somebody today who said last night they got bit by a white snake. That's some sort of species of something that's interacting with you that looks like, or you perceive to be a snake, but it's not really that. It's something else. Barry, what do you think?
Similar. The white snake is, that's when there was some type of dark practitioners that were known to shapeshift into white snakes. Can't remember exactly now who. But that's just so I kind of say around the same thing to what you said. It sounds,
Yeah.
So it was something dark. It was something bad.
It doesn't mean it could be though. We don't know. Somebody else just told me.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did it feel bad to you?
The snake bites hurt a lot. They were hurting to a point where I jumped up out of my sleep and screamed. It's like I thought it was really happening.
But I think she also got fine-tuned too. We got to be careful because you have entities that are fine-tuning you. When that being came and hit the chimes 3 times, that's someone recalibrating your frequency. It's almost like doing craniosacral work or doing a form of chakra alignment, like realigning your chakras, like what Reiki specialists, Reiki masters do. So when you said the chimes 3 times, that woman, and you were probably not in your room, you were probably on a ship. You thought you were in your room because it was a hologram, but you were somewhere else. That's why you saw the universe. It's not that they came to you, it's that you probably came to them. That's just my perception. So I think you were somewhere else. That's why you saw the universe above you. It was maybe a see-through window on a ship or something. Maybe your body was taken etherically. Your body was taken on a ship, and maybe they were utilizing this moment to fine-tune you. But the white snake, I'm not sure, and I can't give you any intel on it so far. But when I do, I'll post it, and I'll let you know what I think it may be. But thank you so much, Cesar. You shared so much. I at least wanted to have the show end properly instead of them cutting us off.
Right. But I am so glad I even got through because I've been holding on to this, wanting to tell you so bad, and I finally got a chance to. Because I knew that you guys would be able to clarify some of it for me. You know what I mean?
I hope we were able
because
to.
These are things that I think about every day because they happen to me.
Absolutely.
You kind of scared me, FleurBrun. One day you were talking about owls, and I promise you, I seen an owl come out of a portal in front of my car. I was sitting at a red light in Georgia because I moved from Georgia to Vegas.
Yeah.
And right before I moved, I seen an owl come up out of a portal, and it flew towards me and stared me right in my face, and then it took off over my car. And I'm the only one that's seen it. I was asking the guy I was with, did you see the owl? Did you see the owl? And he was like, no, babe, I didn't see the owl.
Wow.
So, of course, he think I'm crazy, but...
Well, the owls are known to be shapeshifted grays. I know that one particular group of grays does. It's not that they're owls, but it's the way that they're perceived by us is they either look like deer or owls because of the eyes. So I think
they didn't have any eyes.
What?
It was black.
They projected virtual reality scenario technology.
Yeah.
And one of the forms, that they take is the owl when they project this, or deers. And normally the owls will be abnormally large. Check out, there's a gentleman named Mike Selland, Clelland. He teaches specifically work on the gray owl connection. He just released a new book. And if you get on YouTube and type in Peter Maxwell Slattery and Mike Kellen, the several interviews will come up that are really good that is addressing only that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, do you, Barry, do you find like am I in like any type of danger? Is like there any dark spirits around me that's trying to do something to me, or like?
Well, sadly, this is a dangerous place, but I would say this. Before you go to bed, especially protect yourself. And keep doing protections over yourself. Maybe see the spiral white light coming out of the earth and cleansing you a little bit too, and wish anything negative away from you, and verbally state that. Say that out loud verbally. You wish all negative entities away from you. So that way at least you can kind of start isolating then what this is, because a lot of times we'll have we have these, like, on this planet we have deceased people that roam here. And also we've got what I call like our first cousins, which are these inorganic beings that some of them are earth awareness, some of them are from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But they know exactly how to trick us and how to torment us from that other side. And they're the main ones that come through the Ouija boards and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's normally our first cousins. So it could be a first cousin that's attached to you, messing with you. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that it could be my stepfather? Because when he was on this planet, he was not a very good guy. Not to my mom, he wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Is that that's part of it too. I was going to tell you before we got cut off. He died very abruptly and unexpectedly, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Very much so.
And before he could rectify any of the fucked up shit he was doing to people, right?
Right.
And I think so. Right there, you have maybe a situation where someone has not been able to fully transfer and get all their energy across the other side.
Yeah.
Because and so he could be actually trying to help and protect you now. That maybe he was trying to protect you because he's trying to make right for the karma that he's got upon himself.
That's true.
Right. Okay,
I'm sorry.
In some ways, to quote my mother, in some ways, a day late and a dollar short, but I guess better late than never.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I guess I should tell you this while I'm on the phone so I could know if something is trying to attack me or something. Because the other night, maybe about a week ago, I was laying in my bed and my daughter was over at my house and they were all in the living room. But I go to sleep really early because I get up at like 4:30 in the morning for work. And I was laying in my bed and I wasn't quite asleep, but I was in between. You know how you're in between wake and sleep, you kind of still hear what's going on around you, but you're drifting off. I was in that realm right there, and something was over me. It was white. It was all white, and it was standing with its feet on the side of my shoulders. It was standing on my bed, and both sides of the feet were on by my shoulders, and I felt water. I felt something dripping off of it onto my skin. And when I looked to the side, the skin was it was really, really white, and it was like almost slimy kind of. And I looked up and I wasn't scared. I just said, "You better get off of me." And I started laughing, like, "Move, get off of me." Like I wasn't afraid of it. And it just disappeared.
Okay, that sounds like something like this white snake. You may have an attachment, some sort of, I think there's something there. That sounds like something that's a little more succubus, like a being that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a succubus, and that snake might be attached to that. Because when you said that, like, it goes back to that snake. So I would just do a clearing, cleanse yourself, like Barry said, clear your room, your space, and also do a little cleaning and clearing of your body. How I had a video on clearing the yoni, doing a little steam with the sage, the rose quartz, taking a sea salt bath, kind of clearing your energetic field. There's something that's attached to your energetic field that's not healthy. And for it to be standing over you like that, hovering over you, I don't like that. So you can clear those things. They're parasites. They're vampires. They can only feed off of you when you don't know what they are, and what they're doing.
Right.
So you clear that, and that's all it is. So make sure that you take the initiative now that you know something is maybe parasiting off of you during your sleep state. Like Barry said, clear your room, clear your body, and clear your mind, and also and put a bubble around yourself when you go to sleep every night. So things don't feel like it's okay, like they don't have free reign to just attach or feed off of you without you knowing. That's it. It's not that big a deal. It's just clearing. That's all you're gonna do. And it'll eventually, they eventually go away, but you have to be proactive in your clearing.
Okay, and
right.
now
I'm sorry.
As far as me, I wasn't afraid of it. I was just like, get off of me. What are you doing? You better get off of me.
Well,
and
good.
it just left.
Well, good.
So I think that it knows that I'm not afraid of it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's the first step. But parasites like that don't require fear necessarily. They feed off of sexuality. They feed off things like that. They may feed into, your sexual, it depends. Just be mindful. I don't know what it's doing.
But here's the thing, like, I've been without sex for a long time. Like, I just want to do
that doesn't mean
do my own thing,
but that doesn't mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean a succubus doesn't have to have you have sex with another person. They will drive thoughts into your head and your dreams to feed off of you. So it's not always, you know what I mean? So you don't have to physically have sex. People think that in order for incubus or succubus to be attached to you, you have to be having physical sex with someone else. No, they actually like it better that they can feed off of you without someone else feeding off of your energy, so they can have it all for themselves. So it doesn't matter.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm sorry, C-Star. Yeah. I have to go. It's 12:19. Everyone, do
I have a pen? You said get a pen? Okay, let me grab one. I'm going to grab one real quick.
Okay.
Oh, God, this is too much. Maybe I shouldn't have said nothing. Look, now I don't want to go to sleep.
God. Just protect yourself before you go to sleep, and you'll be all right.
That's fine. Yeah.
That's a very good ritual. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what about the door closing? Do you think it was, so there is something here that actually protected me also?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay. This is something that I want you to give it a shot. All right. You can find this on YouTube under, I'll have to spell it out for you. It's Siddhanath Sura Yoga, which is spelled Siddhanath. The next one is Surya Yoga. Okay? And this is the solar yoga meditation cures diseases. That's exactly what it'll come up as. And you see this old gentleman who specializes in pranayama meditation, which is a breathing technique, and also, but this technique is very good for cleansing the energy field with sun energy. Okay. Just check it out a little bit and try it. A lot of times, being warriors, we have to try things that goes into the realm of action. So even if you just try it for a minute or two, give it a shot and try to cleanse your energy field, and put that on top of the protections you're doing as well.
Okay.
All right.
And I was also told to carry, like, I have tourmaline in my house, because tourmaline puts a protective energy field around me.
Black tourmaline.
Because I was feeling that energy in my room, and I could actually see it in my mind. It would stand near my dresser and just watch me move around my room, take a shower, get dressed. It would go with me to work. But every time that I felt it, I would feel anxiety. I would be really, really nervous.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like it was warning me of something before it happened.
Well, it's not them warning you. It's you warning you. Mm-hmm. Remember, you have your own protective field that will pick up signals subconsciously, and it'll give you a bodily response, a bio response. So the anxiety is
Okay.
your subconscious picking up something is wrong around you, and it's making your body react to something energetically that's not right. So that's your body, that's your biosphere reacting. So,
I think,
you know, okay.
I think that my ex-mom probably sent something to me, because when I first went to Vegas and I left him, I was having a really hard time, and that's when all of this kind of started.
Well, all you can do is clear and cleanse. That's all you can do. And then you follow suit from there. That's how you know what's going on. You start cutting off certain things, and then you'll see what's actually occurring. You can't really do anything until you can single out where you can single it out based on your clearing and see where it's coming from, where the directives are coming from. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm sorry, C-Star. I love it. I love you. Thank you for calling in.
I love you guys too. Thank you for giving me some clearing. And just know I'm not afraid of anything, but I'm about to go and take me a salt bath.
That's right. Go clean and clear.
I'll start with that. Thank you so much, Barry. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. You have a good evening, all right?
You also. Bye,
Thank you.
FleurBrun. I
Bye,
love you.
Love you too. Peace, peace.
All right.
So thank you everyone for joining us in Aquarius Rising, the ninth gate. Please go to Barry Littleton's page, especially his YouTube page, where he has a plethora of videos discussing many of the things, much more detail of what we discussed tonight. Anything else you want to end with, Barry?
No, just give a thank you to everybody, and I hope that it was an enjoyable show. And I really appreciate all the support that's been given.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You rock. I'm sorry I ran late, but you see, can't stop, won't stop. We ended up having a masterful, beautiful show anyway. And sometimes it's that later show that ends up being more masterfully, ending more masterfully. So thank you again. Have a wonderful evening, and we shall talk again. Peace. I can never end this properly.